So once again, yeah, thank you, thank you. So once again, good evening, everyone.
Good evening,
And
ma'am.
Good evening.
so I understand, it has been a tough day, Monday, and then sitting at, in the evening 9:30 to understand some financial concepts, maybe a bit, intriguing. But no worries, we'll make it very light and simple. And if at all you have any queries, you can just, raise your hand in the middle or, type your questions in the chat. Feel comfortable. You can even unmute and speak. Is it good for everyone? Ready to start? So, who all of you are dealing with P&Ls? So, I don't know the profile of, all of you. So, just wanted to take a, quick poll. How many of you are interacting and working on P&Ls? Kalyanji, yes. Who else?
Uh, Entirely, but part of it as part of the delivery requirements.
Okay, wonderful. So not, not many of us are dealing, and maybe little bit someone here and there you're dealing, and Kalyanji has a good idea. So today, what our intent would be, see, we all are aspiring to be CXOs. And a CXO means has no option but to, be in touch with finance, to understand, where our revenues are coming on, what is our bottom line, top line. So all these terms are mandatory. So what I'll do, I'll try to start from a simple level. And as we progress, then we will, upscale our level of learning. Is it good? All are aligned? Shall we move forward?
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. So now let's, Geeta is going to help me today by sharing the slides. Oh, wonderful. Wait. You want me to share, Geeta? I'll share. Wait. Hold on. I'll share. Have you shared? Okay. So you can move forward. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So firstly, we are as we talked, that we are going to talk about the P&L. So normally we all are involved in making the budgets. Yes, you all agree, AOPs, budgets, that we all are doing. Every function, every department does the AOP. If you know about AOP and the budget, give me a thumbs up. Annual operating plans, have you heard about it? Yes, no?
No.
Yeah, Sridhar is saying yes. No, Anil is saying no. Rajesh is saying no. Okay. So we'll talk about the, every department or every function in an organization has to make a budget. What do we mean by budget? Budget is that what we are going to do in the coming financial year. So normally, generally what happens in the month of, January to March, the budget and or AOP is prepared for the coming April to next March. So this EOP exercise is a cumbersome and a, detailed exercise in which all the business leaders, they prepare what are the new activities they are going to do, means what are the capex requirements. Then if at all you are running a project, then what are the operational requirements? So OPEX budget, CAPEX budget. So all these kind of budgets are envisaged for the entire year. And basis the revenue, basis your net income, the management approves the budget that yes, you can go ahead with these projects, or they would say that no, you have to stall these, new initiatives that you are planning to take. So one day what we would do is that one day we will simulate this kind of an exercise, that you are given an option between, you present that you want to go ahead with this kind of, a new initiative, and how the management uh, takes it, that how it has to be done. Yeah. So, Geeta, if we can move to the prior slide. We haven't moved yet. I'll just tell you when we have to move forward. Thank you so much for, helping me with the slides. Okay, so now we'll talk about the budget. I just told you about the AOP and the budget. Now we are moving from the budget management to the enterprise scorecard. How we are going to talk about the enterprise, how the enterprise, the organization functions. When we talk about the P&L, the profit and loss, so the top floor, I would say, the top one is our revenue. What do we mean by the revenue? Revenue means that the money the customers are paying us. They give us the money for whatever whatever products we are selling. If you are into the IT industry, most of you, I was hearing on Friday evening, that as most of you are in the IT industry, then there is a SaaS model, subscription-based model, that you keep on getting the revenue in terms of the subscriptions. So when we, hear about the revenue, what do we come to know? That, whether people want what we are trying to sell or not, whether people are interested or not. And when we come to the middle part is the EBITDA. Has anyone heard about EBITDA? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes, heard about it.
Okay, wonderful. So when we say the middle floor, I would say in the building is the EBITDA, which tells us that how good are we running our business. So tomorrow we will talk more about the EBITDA, because nowadays EBITDA is being taken as the lever by which the organization judge that how the business is performing. Then if we talk about the ground floor, that is the net income. Net income means what is the actual profit? What are the returns that we are getting from the business? So if we look at the top line is our revenue, which validates that product market fit is there or not. What is our commercial strategy? Is our commercial strategy meeting the required objectives or not? And then we talk about the middle line, which is the EBITDA, which tells us about the operational excellence or the operational performance of the business. And then we come to the bottom line. Bottom line is what is the net profit? What is the shareholder value that we are creating? So it is the ultimate shareholder value that we are creating from the business. So now, once we are CXOs, so it is very important for us to understand the revenue, the EBITDA, the net income. So we will be diving deep into all these concepts. Yeah, we can move to the next slide. Yeah. So now it's just, it's moving beyond the budgets, because in the budget, when we talk about the budget, everyone is involved in the organization, even the junior people to the senior people. So budget exercising, most of the teams are involved in the budget making. But when we talk about the this P&L, then not everyone is involved. Then only the top tier is involved. So this we already talked, that when we're talking about revenue, EBITDA, or the net income. So are the three layers of truth clear to everyone? Give me a thumbs up. That the top line is our revenue. It validates how we are working, going in the business, how we are, are we good enough? Are we doing not good enough? So this gives us that narrative. When we talk about middle line, it tells us about our operational efficiency. How is the management performing? And then the bottom line, it validates this. What is the return for the shareholders? Are we creating the value or are we not creating the value? So P&L tells you where you have been. And when we talk about the margins, it tells us where we are going. So, if we are able to create more margins, it means we are going in the positive, in the right direction. Yeah. Next one, Geeta. Yeah. So now we are trying to understand I have taken a very simple logic. It's called the waterfall logic. And it's a fictitious company which is known as Global Tech Solutions. So how $100 million of sales transforms into $10 million of profit? So total revenue of this global IT tech solutions company is $100 million. So it's the cost, whatever goods it's selling, so something it is producing, the cost of the goods sold is $40 million. So what is the gross margin? Gross margin is always revenue minus the cost of goods sold. So revenue minus cost of goods sold is called the gross margin. And what is gross margin? Gross margin is also known as above the line. So above the line is revenue and minus cost of goods sold is the gross margin. What is gross margin showing us? Yes, that after revenue, if I subtract the cost of goods sold, this is the margin that I am getting. Is it clear, everyone? Then comes the operating. We'll talk about each line item in detail also. We're just trying to understand this simple P&L. Then comes the operating expenses. What is the operating expenses? So once a company is operating, it would have people. There are, general administrative charges. Then there is rent. There is, people have laptop, desktops, some assets maybe. So all those costs which are required to run the business is known as the OPEX. From the operating expense, gross margin, if we subtract the OPEX charges, then we get the operating income. What is the operating income? This is the earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, EBITDA. So how do we get the EBITDA? Gross margins. From gross margin, if we subtract the operating expenses, we get the EBITDA. And then there are some interest and taxes. Why do we have to pay the interest? Because we may have taken some loans, some financial charges due to the bankers. So that is the interest payment. And then there are taxes which we have to pay to the government. As individuals pay income taxes, the organizations also pay taxes. So interest and taxes is 5%. So we have taken $5 million. So after subtracting from the operating income, the interest and taxes, we get the net income. So net income is $10 million over here. So this is the bottom line. What is the bottom line means? What is it that the company has retained as its profit? From this profit, either it can reinvest into the business or it will give some dividends to the shareholders. If this is clear, show me a thumbs up. Because this is I would say, a backbone, a starting point, and from here we will be moving forward. Okay, is there, yeah, very good. Thank you. Anybody has any questions? Now you raise hand before we proceed. Thank you, Sridhar.
So total revenue is...
Rajesh, you are saying something. Sorry, the voice is not very clear.
Yeah. Is it better now?
Yeah, very good. Tell me.
Yeah. So the total, okay. So, I mean, so if I look at it, the understanding how 100 million in sales transformed into 10 million profit. So total revenue is, I mean, if I look at it from the client perspective, or is it just, I'm trying to understand it from what is the actual return on investment for an organization which says that...
Wait. Don't go to ROI. We will come to ROI. This is P&L. ROI is separate. That is capital structure, what is debt, what is equity, and then we come to ROI. So that we will take up in a separate session. So just, this is a that is ROI is on the capital structure. When we talk about revenue is not the equity. Okay, so don't confuse it with equity. So this is the revenue. Revenue means what is it that you are getting from sales. See, for example, let me take the example of Walmart. So Walmart has multiple SKUs. So all the SKUs that it is selling, whatever is sold in this month as per the selling price into each SKU and summing that up, that is the revenue. Revenue means how much sales you have done during that month. Is it clear?
Okay, so this is for a company which is into sales. Now, for example,
Right.
if it is a company like us, IBM, so for us, it's okay. Let me give the example. So we say that TCV for this particular project is $100 million, right? So is that a revenue?
You are working for IBM?
Yeah.
So in IBM, I would tell you, see, IBM gives what kind of services? Number one, they give, application-based services to clients. They will give software-based solutions. I don't think they are into hardware. So
And now
whatever,
not.
no.
Yeah, now they're not. Now, I mean,
Yeah.
we sold it
So
to Lenovo.
whatever services they are providing, every month they are collecting the revenue. Means they are billing, invoicing for those services they are providing. So the sum total of all these services in an year, whatever they have invoiced, is the revenue.
I understand.
Is it
Correct.
making you clear?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, I would want everyone, if you have any queries, please come up, because this is the backbone or the starting point of P&L.
So I have
And
one.
in the same sense, sorry, please.
Go on, Rajesh.
Okay, in the same sense, then cost of goods sold would be what is
In the case of, let's take IBM example only. So if I look at IBM, you have all the rented spaces where you do the work. Then you have all the infrastructure that is put up, providing laptops, desktops, chairs, tables, multiple subscription for services, like you may be having Microsoft licenses, or whatever you are using, ERP solutions which you are using for your own services. So whatever services you are consuming to create those services is the cost of goods sold. Even the manpower cost, the salaries it is paying, that is also part of the cost. This is mentioning as cost of goods sold. It can be cost of services sold if it is a service company.
Okay. So manpower based on what we have committed for each individual based on his band or experience.
No, this is whatever IBM is having, the manpower of IBM. When you're talking of revenue, then you are billing certain resources to the company's clients to whom you are providing the services. That manpower billing will come under part of revenue.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
Now is it clear?
Yeah, got it.
So revenue means whatever is incoming to your company. Goods sold is, or services cost, whatever cost the company is incurring means whatever is the outflow for the company.
Understand.
I think maybe that difference between
OpEx and
cost
COGS.
of goods, cost of goods sold
Yeah.
and operating expenses, right? So I think that's where
Cost of goods sold is whatever expenses you are making. It's not the operating expense we have taken. Means if you are manufacturing something, then you are incurring the cost to produce that good or a service. So whatever cost you are incurring, that is the cost. It is the direct production cost. Yeah, please. Stay here. Yeah, any further question? Very good. I am happy, at least you're trying to understand.
Yeah, there was a slight confusion when we talked about licensing cost, the employee cost is going into COGS. If that is the case, what will be the OpEx? So that's where the confusion was.
Wait. See, what happens in the case of goods, it is all the production cost. Okay. But when we talk about services, then there would be certain services like Rajesh ji was mentioning that the cost of when we are giving manpower for IT service to a company, then what happens? Then that is my cost of service.
Right.
So in that case, if it is a service and we are billing those resources, then we have to take that cost because that is the cost of producing that service. So goods and services, that differentiation, just we need to have a minor thought in our mind that whether it's really a good or a service.
All right. Okay.
See, OPEX cost, as I have written also, it is generally R&D cost, general cost, administration cost, HR cost, finance cost. Then our sales and marketing also, advertising cost, all these costs form part of the operating expenditure. Any
Okay.
other question before we proceed?
Just some thoughts on operating income. Maybe so OPEX we understood it's an expense. So operating income is maybe.
Tomorrow we are going to cover EBITDA in detail.
Okay.
Full topic will be on this.
Okay.
Just park your thoughts for a while. We'll cover about EBITDA now also, but the nitty-gritties and everything we'll talk more about this. For the moment, you remember that from the gross margin, we are subtracting the operating expenses and we are getting the operating income, which is our earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Yeah. Any further questions? Good to move forward? Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, so now we are just, what are we trying to understand now is like putting a kind of a CEO hat, I would say. That how does revenue and quality of earnings relate to each other? What is revenue? That we all know now. What is the quality of earning? That we are trying to understand now. Earnings we just saw, that with EBITDA we saw the earnings. So now we are going to talk about the quality of earnings. So quality of earnings is also very, very important. Means when we talk about quality of earning, it implies that how sustainable and predictable the company's revenue is. So let's take an example like I have written. If 20 million of the 100 million in the previous, global IT solutions we saw, the P&L, if 20 million of that comes from a single non-renewable contract, then this is a cause of concern for us. Why? Because that revenue is a one-time revenue. It is not going to be available for us the next year. So this means if out of 100, my 20% is not repeatable revenue, then it is a low quality of earning. Low QoE, what does it say? It means that revenue is not reliable. Because next year I'm not going to get it. I'm going to get it only this year. And then if we have got, subscription based servicing, SaaS model. So we are sure, we have tied up for 5 years of contracts. And we are sure every month, every year, we are going to get the revenue come what may, because I have all the long-term contracts and all are tied up with, monthly payment or some milestone payment. So I know if my 100 million means I am going to get 100 million minimum every year. If I go and, make more clients, then maybe my revenue would increase, but it is not going to decrease. Is this point clear? So if you are a CEO of a company, then if you have all fixed earnings, fixed revenue, then what would happen? This would give you, a choice about, that you are making a good choice about your investments. That yes, my revenue is stable. What is the objective of a CEO? That the revenue is stable. Is it clear to everyone? Clear?
This is
Okay, we can move to next. Just give me a moment. I'll get some water. Yeah, okay, we can move to the next one. So we, in our, waterfall model, we saw about the above the line. Above the line, everyone remembers? We talked about gross margin, and that gross margin line is known as above the line. What does this mean? Revenue minus cost of goods sold is our above the line. So it is known as the gross margin lever. So our revenue was 100 million. Our cost of goods sold was 40. So then our gross profit or gross margin became 100 minus 40, 60. But if my cost of goods sold rises from 40 to 45, what happens? Our gross margin will reduce. So it will become 55. Clear, everyone? So
Yeah.
now what happens if your gross margin is decreasing? As a CEO, what would be your next step? You want to maintain your revenues. You want to either raise the price or cost of goods sold you want to reduce. So what you will do? You will further talk to your supply chain partners. Means raw material from whomsoever you are taking, you will try to reduce that cost. If you are providing services, then you will try to optimize the cost of those services. So this is called, it's the margin battle. So all CEOs have to deal with the margin battle. That how should I price my, what should be my pricing strategy and what should be my supply chain optimization? Can we grow the revenue without eroding our margin percentage? That is very important. Is it making some sense to you? So these are the questions which CEOs need to answer. Yeah, anybody has any question on this?
No questions. Good explanation, madam.
Thank you, sir. So next, we'll move to the next one. Yeah. So now we will talk that gross margin line is called above the line. Okay. So now we will talk about below the line operating levers. So what is the below the line? Where we saw that 45 million we spent in OPEX, which was our R&D, sales and marketing, general and administrative costs. This is where you will find the operating leverage. What do you mean by operating leverage? Means how we can grow our revenues, but we cut down our operating cost. Then our net income, then we are able to trigger the efficiency engine. That is very important. So imagine that next year your revenue grows 20%. You are able to, do more sales and marketing and you are able to get more revenue, 20%. Now you move to 120 million. But you kept your G&A cost at 10 million only. because your systems are efficient. Now your gross profit would increase. Why? Because your OPEX costs remain the same, but still your profit, what happens? The profits would increase. Is it clear, everyone? If revenues have increased and your operating costs remain the same, you are able to improve your profits. So new EBITDA now comes to 22 million, which is a 46% increase in profit from only 20% increase in sales. So this is the magic of below the line operating efficiency. So as CEOs, you have to apply your mind that where can I find my operating leverage? If at all my revenue is increasing, see your rent, if you are not increasing your office space, your rent would remain the same. If you are not increasing your sales, marketing cost, it would remain the same. Your R&D is the same. Then you are able to increase the gross margins. This below the line is the CEO's efficiency lever. And this
So you
helps you
mean
to scale. Yeah.
I just wanted to understand over here this new gross profit that has come over here, like $72 million, right? So you're saying like we have actually restricted the flow in OPEX.
Yes. So this once, what happens when you are increasing your revenue, but what would happen? You have not, put in more, the office remains the same. The operating, R&D, you have not, increased the budget on that. Sales and marketing is same. G&A is same. So your numbers are the same. But the profit has increased, the revenue has increased, so that is in turn leading to increase in your profit gross margin levels. Is it clear?
Yes, got it. I saw like new OPEX $50 million. That actually got me confused.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, sir. Then what happens? Earlier we had shown only 45 million. We just increased little bit. See, sales and marketing, maybe we increased by 5 million and we are able to get the revenue of from 100 to 120. So the percentage increase in OPEX and the percentage increase of revenue is multiple times. This is clear? Yeah, next. Yeah, Geeta, can you move to the next one? Yeah. So then talking about the 10 million, the net income that was the 10 million in our first case. So this is what is available to pay dividends or reinvest in the business. If your net income is 10 million, but your interest expense is high because you have taken a loan at a very, very high cost, then what would the board say to you? You go to the board that, you see, I have, net income of $10 million and I have come up with a new project. I want to take up a new AI project to automate these things, and the budget for this AI is this. But in your initial P&L, your interest cost is very high. Then your board is not going to approve your investment because they will say, because you have to pay off your debt. So please pay off the debt. Then rather than thinking of the expansion or new projects. So this net income is very, very important, but alongside the interest expense takes a major role, It takes a major share, that if interest is high and you have to service a big loan, then you need to take care of that as well. Yeah, any question on this one? Okay.
So it's always a battle between the board and the CEO, isn't it? Because you are seeing an
Definitely.
opportunity available with an investment, but you're supposed to clear the dues. So
See
how does
what
it?
happens. We will do that simulation exercises as well. That is those are known as capital allocation battles,
Hmm.
because you will always have a limited capital and you will want to do a few projects. So how you pitch your project to the board, that yes, they are they sanction that amount of capital to that project, that is very important.
Right.
Because the group, I would say there would be like, let's take example of IBM is there in multiple countries, and then there would be some fixed allocation of budget, and everyone is fighting for that budget. Which project should get that budget? Those
Okay.
battles would be there. Then how you present your case, how you are able to, it's not only about presentation, I would say, it's about really creation of value also. That if you are able to show to the board that yes, you are able to create a value, then definitely, they will approve your budgets.
Okay.
End of the day, the game is all about value creation.
Absolutely.
If we can create that value, then then management is happy to sign on. Yeah, next one, Geeta. Yeah, so we have, we'll say that there are three main questions. Is our revenue growth organic? Please hold on. Yeah, just hold on. Is our revenue growth organic or driven by one-time events? That is very important, as we discussed. How the revenue growth is happening. What is our model? So if we have, continuity of revenue, our board is also happy that yes, this CEO has at least, this much is for sure revenue. And then, are our margins sustainable against current inflationary pressures? So gross margin, is it growing? Is it stable? Because inflation is rising. 60 million this year and 60 million next year. There is a net present value of whatever money is there. Money today and money tomorrow, the value is different. Do you all agree? With inflation, the money is losing its value. So
Yes.
are our margins sustainable or not? Are we investing enough below the line to ensure growth 3 years from now? So as a CEO, you cannot think about only this year. You have to always have that thinking hat that, all the enterprises are businesses in perpetuity. So our whatever investments we are doing, we not only have to save our today, but for tomorrow also what it has to happen, we have to look for levers of growth. So if you do not do any investments in AI projects today, so tomorrow your company may become irrelevant. Nobody would like to, do business for you with you. Like ESG, 3 years before, nobody was talking more about ESG. Only ESG was a term, a bit it was being used. Nowadays, ESG is a mandatory thing. If you are a global business provider, then for all your vendors, it is important that they are compliant to ESG. If not, there are multiple companies who will not even award contracts to those companies. Do you all agree? So similarly, so if we are a part of a company, we are the CEOs, and we do not look at these kind of things which are relevant, which are the buzzwords, which are the going forward things, then our companies may become irrelevant in 2, 3, 5 years. Yeah, now next, Geeta. Yeah. So see what happens for a CEO. Intuition is very, very important. Like you do the transformative meditation exercises. So what does all this? See, sometimes we feel that these are irrelevant. Yaar, kya kar raha hu main? Some people feel, I know that, not you people, but there are few people who ask me questions like this, that what is the need of this meditation? Why should I do all these things? But I'll tell you, all these, things, they help us to build our intuition. When you are taking decisions, if it is a black and white decision, it's very clear, you should go this way or that way. Like capital allocation, we will do one day. You have two projects. You have to decide between A and B project. But some things are very clear, NPV, ROI, everything is clear to you. But still, there are some intangible things which only this NPV, ROI will not show you. Payback will not tell you. For those things, intuition plays a great role. And they will, that inner voice will guide you that this decision is better than this. So this, and how can we, build intuition naturally? Once we are practicing, we are doing, when we build the experience, we fail at one or two places, then also our, that muscle becomes stronger. Yeah, next one, Geeta. So this was a, very simple example I took, because now you know about all this revenue, cost of goods sold and all. But I just thought that I took this example so that it stays with you forever, kind of a thing. So if we talk about a lemon, there was a boy, it's with the help of a story I want to tell you. A small boy, internationally, normally, all young boys or girls, they all want to earn some money. So they were on a summer vacation in schools, and they put up a lemonade stand. So what they did was they took some money and they started this lemonade stand. What are the ingredients they bought? They would buy lemons, sugar. They want to sell the lemonade, so they need the cups also. So these were the direct cost for that. Lemons, sugars, cups. And what is the revenue? Once they are selling this, they are getting the coins. They are getting the money. So this is the revenue. What is the operating expense in this? So the boy, he had a very younger brother. So he gave a, standee to his little brother. Say, you please help me. One day you stand at the corner of that road. You keep this standee, that lemonades for $5. And whole day you keep this keep on holding this standee. And I'll give you, $5 per day. And he created that standee also, bought paper, bought the markers, bought the pens. So this is the operating expense. And then after, subtracting all this, he got the net income and the profit focus. So this is just a kind of, I would say, a small story through which I wanted you to just retain it and stay with you forever. Yeah, next one, Geeta. Yeah, next one. So what is it? It's a kind of a waterfall. We start with revenue. We decrease the costs. We got the above the line. We got the gross margin, which has the pricing. How we can, protect the gross margin? We can either increase the price of the product, or we optimize the supply chain to maintain that profitability. From above the line, we move to the below the line, which is the EBITDA. Then high operating leverage, when scalable infrastructure, overhead costs. If overhead costs grow slower than the revenues are increasing and OPEX cost is reducing at a lower level, we saw that we are able to multiply and get more profits, the 72 million that we saw. And then we talked about the quality of earnings and the net income. quality of earnings ensures that our profits are sustainable. If they are sustainable, then we have a high quality of earning. While net income, it guides our decisions on the dividends, on reinvestment, and on deleveraging. Yeah, Geeta, next. So now I have a small, homework for you. That you may not be doing a, P&L as a business, as an entity, but whatever function or department you are in, identify what is your revenue, the value you are providing to your firm. Identify your cost of goods sold and calculate your operating margin. And then if you have to increase your bottom line by 15%, which lever would you pull first? You will increase the price, you will try to cut the cost, or you want to increase the volumes. What lever would you want to use? So this you can click a screenshot or click a picture for your homework, or Geeta will post it in the group. Yeah. Any questions you have? Yeah, you can remove the slides, Geeta. Thank you so much.
Hemlata ma'am, I would like to comment. Really very nicely articulated, simple and easy to understand. You did the session really well. Not only that, you have provoked thinking for the audience, which not every teacher would be able to do. So I really appreciate, heartful appreciation. Thank you for the
Thank you,
efforts.
Jasuryaji. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for the efforts to make the presentation also, and some simple live examples also that you have given. So I really appreciate it, and I'm really energized with your presentation today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I think a lot of insights, which I'd like to ponder upon, because been out of all this for some time. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you.
It was helpful for me also. I heard lots of term like EBITDA and all, and it was nice explanation, ma'am.
Thank you. We'll now this week we'll go into different aspects of financing, because for a CEO all these financing aspects are must. So once we know all these terms, then whenever we are dealing in our daily life also, we will try to activate that muscle of ours and try to see how am I making the decisions.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, Hemlata ji. Very well put together. For me, one important learning is quality of earnings that you talked about. But then I also had a perspective on that. Okay. I was just thinking, so back in the day, and when Rajesh was also talking, typically recurring revenue was associated with managed services projects when you have multi-year contracts,
Yes.
right?
Managed service.
With managed services projects where probably the contract is maybe for 10 years, and then
Yes.
and then you're assured of that
Revenue.
recurring revenue. Okay. Now, managed services is becoming a sort of it has come down significantly. It has come down over the last couple of years with AI taking over, right? Managed services components. Now, so the question is, what is going to fill in, or what will be the equivalent to ensure that the quality of earnings remains the same, or quality of earnings gets maintained, right? If managed services comes down. I hope the question makes sense.
Yeah. Question is very, very clear, crystal clear. I would say, this is the question for all the CEOs to think. that, how I have to sustain my revenues. Each CEO will have different levers. So you are in IT industry, so managed services, but then there would be another line of business opening up for AI agents would be coming up. Then maintenance and, operation and maintenance of agents. At the moment, the agents, people are going and creating agents and working on agents and developing agents. Then all infrastructure related to agents, that is also being managed. So that is one line of business that immediately comes to my mind. But yes, there would be, I'm quite sure that, when one door closes, there are multiple that open up. But then we have to be vigilant and take that first movers advantage, that what are the areas we can enter and we can, take the markets on. Once even in AI area, I have seen now, all the organizations, they are in the AI space. Everyone, all the organizations I deal with, in a small or a big way, everyone is into AI. So how can we enter into that AI space? Can we create something? Can we create value for our clients through the use of AI? So those thoughts I would leave with you, not only with you, but with each one of you, I would say, because each one has a different, area in which we all are working. So what is it that, my organization supports me in, and what is my line of business, how I can implement a new project or a new, I would say, service for my clients that is of value to them. That needs to be thought.
Sounds good. And one last question.
Does that answer your question, Kalyan?
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, reinvention and sort of, clearly looking at newer avenues, right? So that they keep that quality of earnings intact. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
So one more thing I would like to add over here, there have been multiple inflection points in the history, if we look at, see, Y2K came. I'm just giving IT examples because most of you are from IT. So Y2K came, then the internet came. It really changed the game, entire IT game, I would say. And now is again and another, inflection point with the taking over of AI.
Yeah.
So, and things somehow juggled up and settled down. So the same thing is going to happen now as well.
Yeah. What is the difference between, and if you're going to cover this in the subsequent classes, maybe you can probably say that we'll cover later. What is the difference between a subscription-based model versus an ARR, annual recurring revenue-based model?
Sorry, versus an?
Subscription.
Yeah, subscription, I got it. Versus?
Recurring revenue.
See, what happens?
Versus recurring revenue.
See, there are, if we look at the revenue models, there are multiple models. So one is now the subscription-based model, which is more prevalent in the IT industry. So service as a, software as a service, SaaS models. So you take the licenses. Simple common example is our Microsoft. So Microsoft, if you are using Outlook, enterprise agreement would be there, and you are taking for the entire organization, you would do a 3-year to a 5-year contract. So that is a subscription-based model. And then there are certain services like you are doing, a consulting service. So that consulting service will not be a year-on-year service. If it's a one-time service. Like you were talking about, what should I do next? Your company is not able to figure out on its own that, as the entire paradigm is changing with the coming up of AI, what should my company do? So what do? You take services from a consultant. Big Fours you appoint and you take that, service from them. So for that consultant, this one-time exercise is a one-time one-off payment. It's not going to be repeated year on year. Does it make it clear to you, Kalyan? So it's a one time. So similar, maybe your company is offering a similar consultancy services to some other company. So if at all you are dealing with some kind of, what's your company? What do you deal in? If you can just, I'll try to take your example only.
Yeah, we are a products company, but we also do services for our implementations. Teradata.
Means what kind of services?
You can treat it as equivalent to Oracle.
Oracle. Okay. ERP is you are dealing with.
Yeah.
Data. So ERP, see what happens, like in my company, I want to, set up an ERP for the first time. So I do not have any experience whether Oracle is good for me or Ariba is good for me, or maybe, some small kind of a model, Coupa is good for me. So I come to you and I tell you, Kalyan, my company wants to evaluate multiple ERP solutions. Can you help me evaluate that? And you say, okay, I'll charge you 10 lakhs and give you a, different pros and cons and give you the recommendation which ERP solution would work for your organization. So this is a kind of a one-time service. This revenue is not going to come to you year on year. So these are one kind of services. And then if you are, offering like Oracle, so I take Oracle from you, subscription, that's a subscription model. And I'm going to pay you month on month. That payment may be quarterly or yearly payment you charge in advance. But yes, you are assured that for 5 years, you are going to get this payment. Does it make it clear to you?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Any other question?
So I have a couple of things, ma'am. One is the appreciation for you, because I was a student of IIM Koshikude, and then I tried to learn what professor was teaching about finances. I was always sleeping in the class. Now, with your simple terms and concept, you're making us understand what is this revenue, what is EBITDA. It's very, very great. Your experience is commendable. I hope we can learn a lot of things from you going forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And the second thing is a question I have for you. Maybe you'll cover in the upcoming sessions. So, as a CEO, we know what is happening with the organization, what is the income, revenue, etc. But there are various levels of career levels, right? We don't necessarily become a CEO tomorrow, but we will get there in the future. So, for example, if I lead a department, I don't necessarily understand what is the actual income coming for the organization. There is somebody called CFO or someone else who will distribute the budgets for the department-wise expenses or anything. Now, what is the best way, or is there any framework to really guess what is coming for us based on the company's performance for our department and plan our budget according to that? Is there any standard framework that you usually have followed?
I could not follow your question properly. You are saying that as a department, just let me rephrase it. So as a department, you are saying that you are not responsible for, making the budgets and the profit and loss. So you are not concerned with all these things.
Yeah.
So how does it impact you? That's what your question is?
Yeah, how does it impact me is one, and my department, and how do I plan my expenses ahead based on the company's performance, where I have no role to play, that this amount of money would come to my department.
Which company do you work, Sridhar?
I currently work for MSD Pharmaceuticals. I'm into cybersecurity.
And you are dealing with security?
Yeah, cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens in most of the organizations, there is a there is a framework to develop an annual operating plan that in the coming year, what you are going to do. I talked about in the beginning also. So if you people are not aware, one day I'll take you through the AOP planning also. That's very, very critical and important. And this is not for finance professionals. This is for all the departments. What is it One would be the technical aspects of it, that what is the plan, that what is this department going to do during the entire year. And once you decide that, yes, I am going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 activities during the year, then naturally the question comes, what would be my budget for all these 6 activities? Because nothing is going to be, free. So whatever you are planning, you have to plan a budget. Because if you do not plan a budget, you do not give your expenses, then what happens in the end? What the group CFO does, all the department budgets, the Sigma exercise will be done. And when you go, each department goes and presents their budget, then the board, what they say, they will not accept whatever you have, given to them. Of the 6 projects, when you present that in this I'll do this I'll do this, then they may say, no, we've asked you that you do only your top 3. Or they may tell you that you had asked for, say, 50 crores of budget. They will say, no, we will give you 25 crores. Whatever you want to do, you do. So that is the exercise which is normally done in, I would say, all of the organizations. If you have not come across, I am a bit surprised, but
No. We do that,
you
like
do that. Yeah. That's what
we
I
do
was.
that as what do we do in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, and 1 year. That's the planning we already do.
Okay. Yeah.
We
Short
talk
term,
about,
long term planning. That
we
can be
talk
done.
about the technologies we are bringing in, the impact, the value creation, and how much would it cost. But there are 3 to 4 middlemen in between the CFO and us, where we don't have any transparency towards. We have no visibility about.
Yeah.
We
That
present
won't
it to
be
the
there.
CISO, and then
So don't
it's
worry.
gone.
Once you become to that, you are at that level, you will get. You are getting prepared for that only.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
It answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have a few questions for you. Thank you for this session. Ms. Navratna. Are we going to cover cash flows and value creation?
Definitely. Yes. This week only we will cover.
Okay. Also, in the simulations, we will be covering profit and loss statements along with the balance sheet validation, right?
That actually I have not planned, but if you would want, then we will
No.
do that.
Yeah. I just wanted to understand. Okay. Sure.
We will cover few topics, and then if you want something additional, we will look at those as well. What I am trying to do is that, from a CXO level, what are the important things we need to, understand, and what are the implied meanings, like, quality of earnings and all. I tried to bring out those aspects which are important for CXO, because this I am not running as a finance and accounting course, I would say. It's more about, what is required for a CXO.
Correct. So, in the simulation, if we can also have some 2-3 departments in place wherein one department is not performing well, and we can actually manage it in such a way that the company's profit is still same, but internally each department's we manage it. Something by managing internally, some kind of balancing act. Maybe if we can do that, it will give a more clear picture to everyone, what I see.
We'll plan something. Maybe we can do a role play or something between you people. We can give, devise a case study.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I got. That's it. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other question before we sign out? Timing 9:30 is okay. Can we do for a few days at 9:30? Would it work? If anybody has a challenge, then they can raise hand. Sridhar, you are okay? Yeah. You have a challenge?
I think, on some days my calls may go on until 10. So on those days I may have a challenge.
We'll see. If at all you have a challenge, then we will try to accommodate. 9:45 works for everyone?
Yeah, 9:45 is kind of doable, because I have scheduled calls until 9:30 every day for sure. So they can get extended, but 9:45 is something I can join.
I understand you all have a very, very long day. But,
I have staggered days, so
huh?
I have staggered working hours.
Okay. ठीक है, we'll work out. We'll figure out if at all somebody has a challenge, we will do at 10 also. But
Yeah.
I thought that because these are all heavy concepts, so if we do a little bit early, then it gives you some, breather. Like it took us a lot of time. It took us more than an hour today.
No, we'll put a
that's-
poll and we'll check it every time whenever.
नहीं, ठीक है. If at all it would be possible, comfortable, then we will do.
ठीक है, done.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you, Hema. Thank you, Hema, for
Thank
helping
you.
us, taking a nice class for us.
Thank you.
Hema.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello again.
Hi.
Hi. So how was the class today?
Oh, she's so good.
The moment
Do
I
you
saw the
know-
poster, I thought I would sleep early, but it's not the case.
The most difficult thing for somebody at that level,
Sorry, please,
Yes.
I couldn't hear you in between.
I said the most difficult thing for somebody at that level is simplification.
Yeah.
And she just beats it down to the simplest form. Lovely. Amazing it was.
True, true.
So, Jay, you were there in the class today?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay. He went out, okay. All right, then. What do we have? We still have time, but we can say bye. Sangeeta, ma'am, you can say I have a little. Okay, I'll call you. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Bye
everyone.
bye. Good night.
Jao, Divya. Sign out. No, you cannot be on mute. Lohita, bye. Lohita, bye. Lohita. Okay. So we have decided that one day Hema ma'am is taking class, one day Preeti ma'am is taking class in the evening. And कल आप ले रहे हो प्रीति जी?
मैं?
हाँ, मैंने हेमा से पूछा नहीं है what days she want, but I'll check and I'll tell you. हाँ.
Okay, just check. मतलब आज का हुआ ना तो कल
You can go.
कंटिन्यूटी रहेगा ना, उसके हिसाब से बोलते हैं.
नहीं, वो हेमा की भी तो ऑफिस कॉल्स होती हैं.
Okay.
We'll have to figure that out.
Correct.
Yeah. So I'll have to check with her. She said 2 days she can make it.
हाँ, उनके यहाँ भी हर समय चलती रहती हैं लेट नाइट तक काम और
हाँ. तो आप कल रात ले लो या कल सुबह नहीं ले रहे ना आप? तो संगीता जी आप एक काम करो, सुबह आप ट्रांसफॉर्मेशनल ले लोगे
कब?
कल सुबह?
कल सुबह?
सुबह कुछ प्रॉब्लम होता है आपको, कुछ चैलेंज है?
नहीं नहीं
नहीं?
कितने 5:45 ना?
हाँ, मैं करूंगी 6 बजे तक. तो I'll start मेडिटेशन एंड माइंडफुलनेस कर लूंगी मैं. बेशक आप 6 बजे तक आ जाओगे तो ठीक है, नहीं तो मैं कर लूंगी.
No. At 6 you want me to start transformation at 6?
हाँ.
Okay. Before that you want to do meditation?
हाँ.
Okay.
पॉसिबल है?
Possible है?
ठीक है, अगर है पॉसिबल तो ठीक है.
Okay.
ठीक. Then it's good. प्रीति मैम आपको और कुछ हेल्प चाहिए?
नहीं, कुछ नहीं.
ठीक. ठीक है, बस then we can log out. All right.
Just check and confirm, no, if she wants to take tomorrow, क्योंकि continuity में